preserving the historic past for the future. It's been happening for decades in Jefferson County open space.
1893, that's when the house was built.
Like the historic Hiwan Homestead Museum in Evergreen, which almost fell to the wrecking ball.
They were going to level the building and build multifamily structures. The fact that we were able to step in and stop that from happening, to maintain the building and create a museum that everyone could enjoy and learn about the past, I think is so important.
It was all done by hand. No power tools at all. So, to me that's remarkable.
Equally magnificent in the Jefferson County Open Space Collection, the preserved and partially restored Baehrden Lodge in Pine Valley.
The architecture, the history of the families that have lived there, it really makes it a unique property.
It reportedly took 700 pickup loads of water from the lake down the hill to mix enough mortar to complete the job.
A one-of-a-kind creation, and they reflect a deep love, a connection to the land from the people that have preserved those buildings.
Original owner William Baehr, an astronomy professor, even built his own observatory with a working telescope, preserved for visitors to enjoy today.
Eventually time came to pass the property on to open space. We're very lucky to have it. It's a real jewel.
That inspired long-term vision has encouraged several landowners to sell or donate their property to the care of Jeffco Open Space as well, so it will keep its original signature.
My great-grandpa and my grandpa showed up there in about 1870.
People like Charles and Mary Ramstetter.
Well, it feels good, and we've always thought we never looked back. We figured it's the right thing to do.
And we feel lucky that we lived long enough that we could look back and say, gee, are we ever glad we did that, But now we're getting toward the upper end of middle age. So we've been able to enjoy what we've done for a long time.
Well, my father bought Centennial Ranch, and I just thought that would be a wonderful thing to do, to preserve the land and preserve my heritage and my legacy, and for the benefit of people not only in Colorado, but whoever comes through Colorado, to see this beautiful, beautiful piece of property preserved. It's very, very important to me.
Not far from White Ranch was the once thriving Booth Land and Cattle Company.
In 1934, Dad and Mom built the second ranch house in the valley, which is now Blue Mountain Estates.
But there came a time when the family realized it was time to let go and turn their property over to a dedicated and caring future custodian, Jeffco Open Space.
We thank you for your consideration in helping 6 generations of our family in continuing preservation of this property for the enjoyment of current and future residents of Jefferson County.
One of the most recognized properties is the Meyer Ranch. You've probably seen the picturesque yellow house just off 285 near Conifer. And until recently, the airplane in the hangar. The history of the Meyer Ranch is as colorful as the man who owned it.
When we moved to Conifer in 1950, it was very undeveloped. It was very natural. And we saw remnants of the Ute Indians. I found Indian shards of arrowheads and the old trail, the Bradford Road that came up from Denver.
Bradford Road, by the way, is now the 4-lane 285. Today's open space property is the part of the original ranch just to the south of 285.
When you put in rooftops and you cut it up with roads, you stop the flow of water, you stop the flow of wildlife. There is absolutely no question that my parents did the right thing.
Do a half loop.
Oh, and the plane? It belonged to her father, Norm. He was a commercial airline pilot. By Norm's early 90s, it was time to give up his personal wings. A family friend piloted its last flight out in 2010.
I saw this beautiful property that was largely pristine, and the hogback section that runs through the Hildebrand ranches. And we would do.
For John Stockwell Jr., it was a dedicated desire to keep his grandmother's property intact and undeveloped for decades to come.
We do need to maintain pathways for animals to be able to move in their natural passive migration. If you leave a legacy to the public, that's something that people will benefit for generations down the line, you know, that's a good place to be.
For these landowners, Jeffco Open Space has been a treasured option at the right time.
And this way, generations can continue to enjoy it in its entirety.
The bridge from their personal past to a preserved and predictable future.